Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. Thanks for joining us. We have a great show for you today. First, the mother of missing California girl charged with false imprisonment after revealing her daughter's alleged location. A Florida driver's daring exit leaves the family in the fast lane and him in custody. How about a little marijuana-induced paranoia? What could possibly go wrong? A Missouri woman's been charged with child abuse after allegedly threatening her child on live stream video. A Florida man discharges a firearm over a dispute involving poultry production. That's right, the old classic, what came first, the chicken or the egg? We got some quick news that didn't quite make the headlines. We have This Day in Legal History. Our quote of the day takes a swipe at lawyers, and our dumb criminal of the day. Only in Florida, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about it. Good day, everyone. My name is Scott Reisch, and this is Crime Talk, the most fact-driven, unbiased true crime channel on the internet, with a little bit of sarcasm thrown in as well. Now, before we get started, let me remind you to go to crimetalksearch.com and sign up for that background subscription service today. When you do, you'll be able to do a background search on anyone here in the United States. In fact, you can do it on as many people as your heart desires. You can search your neighbors. You can search your boss. You could search the people you're going to go on a date with, and you're going to find out all types of information about them. Probably stuff you don't even know. Maybe things you didn't want to know. But once you know, you're glad you did. So go to crimetalksearch.com and sign up for that today. And remember, you can cancel it at any time. Now, let me also remind you, look down in the link down there, hit the link, go and start ordering your shirts for Christmas. All right, the holidays are coming. You know what you want. You know you want it. So do it. Treat yourself. Buy it for yourself. Have your husband put it under the tree for you so you make sure you get something. We know how men, sometimes they're terrible at that thing. Do it yourself. Take matters into your own hands. The cavalry's not coming. All right. Sometimes men cannot be trusted for a good Christmas gift. So plan ahead, get it for him now, put it under the tree for yourself, get what you want. Get the whole family one. You could get them for the whole family, and everybody could wear them on Christmas Day. Send them in and we'll put them up on the channel as well. And of course, don't forget the Crime Talk keychain or nice bag tag as well. All right, let's go ahead and get to the docket for Wednesday, November 12th, ladies and gentlemen. Can you believe it is almost halfway through November? Where has the year gone? Well, first on the docket, the mother of the missing California girl charged with false imprisonment. That's right. Police have arrested Ashlee Buzzard, as we told you the other day, the mother of the 9-year-old Melodee Buzzard, who has been missing since early October on charges of false imprisonment. No murder charges just yet. Kind of like the story we brought you about the guy named David yesterday, too. But remember, everyone is presumed innocent that we talk about unless proven guilty in a court of law. Now, according to the court records, the incident stems from Buzzard's apparent remorse after confiding a longtime acquaintance about the location of where she reportedly abandoned her daughter. Now, Ms. Buzzard, who's 40 years old, was taken into custody in California last Friday. Police initially described the charges as unrelated to the ongoing search for Melodee. However, the accuser, Tyler Brewer, has since provided a detailed account asserting that the confrontation arose during his attempt to assist in locating the child last month at Buzzard's residence in Lompoc. Now, in an interview with News Nation's Banfield, Brewer recounted that Buzzard disclosed the site in Utah, approximately several hundred miles from their home, along with the identity of the individual accompanying Melodee. Brewer noted in the criminal complaint filed on Monday and reviewed by the Los Angeles Times that Buzzard exhibited signs of acute distress immediately following the revelation. Buzzard became visibly distressed after sharing information she appeared to regret disclosing, according to the arrest affidavit. Now, Brewer further alleged that she then brandished a box cutter, denying his repeated request to depart the premises despite his familiarity with her since 2014. Brewer described Buzzard as closing her eyes tightly, clenching her fists, and securing multiple locks on the door to prevent his exit. What was she going to do? Kill him too? Take him on a road trip and dump him in the middle of the desert? Possibly. Anyway, the court records characterize the episode as indicative of premeditation and deliberate intent. Brewer ultimately escaped and promptly notified police. He emphasized uncertainty regarding the veracity of Buzzard's statements, attributing potential inaccuracies to her evident psychological turmoil. Family members, including Buzzard's mother, Lori Miranda, have corroborated concerns about her mental health. Miranda informed local media that she has not seen her granddaughter in over 2 years and that Ashlee's conditions deteriorated significantly in 2018 following a fatal automobile accident that claimed Melodee's father's life when the child was merely 6 months old. So Melodee's most recent verified appearance occurred on October 9th near the Utah-Colorado border, as reported by the police. She was officially reported missing on October 14th after educators alerted authorities that she had not participated in her homeschooling program for more than a year. Security footage captured Buzzard and Melodee embarking on an unexplained journey to Nebraska on October 7th, with Buzzard returning unaccompanied on October 10th. Investigators from the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office observed that Buzzard altered the license plates on her rented vehicle and donned disguises such as wigs during the approximate 1,500-mile excursion, obviously suggestive of efforts to evade scrutiny. Since the inquiry commenced, Buzzard has remained uncooperative, offering no substantive details on Melodee's whereabouts or well-being. The case now involves federal agencies, obviously making things much more serious, and given the fact that the child was reportedly moved across state lines, would make sense. Now, efforts to reach Ms. Buzzard's attorney, well, unsuccessful. What can you do? But we do know that security recordings provided the final documented visuals of Melodee prior to her disappearance, obviously intensifying the urgency of the investigation. You know what people say, ladies and gentlemen, 2 people can keep a secret as long as one is dead. And it appeared as though I was thinking about unaliving her longtime friend once she knew that she had possibly messed up. Obviously, we'll give her the presumption of innocence. And even the own victim in this particular case of the false imprisonment can't say for certain whether it's true or not, but just repeating what she said. But I think that's what they refer to as a statement against penal interest. People don't go around confessing to killing their children unless there's some veracity to it. Correct? Next, a Florida driver's daring exit leaves the family in the fast lane and, him in custody. In a sequence that could have veered straight into tragedy's traffic jam, a Florida highway became the unlikely stage for a family feud, culminating in one man's literal leap of questionable faith. Please meet Albert Searcy. He is now nursing more than just bruised egos from behind bars following his mid-drive dismount from a moving car on State Road 79 earlier this week. According to the Washington County Sheriff's Office, Searcy and his family, his wife Heather, and their 3 young children were en route from the Sunshine State's Panhandle back to their roots in Louisiana on November 10th. What began as a routine relocation soured into strife, prompting their daughter to dial 911 from the back seat amid some escalating parental discord. The call cut short, but not before dispatching deputies to the scene like reluctant referees to a roadside rumble. A pursuing patrol car soon illuminated the family sedan with flashing lights, intent on standard stops. Yet Searcy, apparently opting for the path of most resistance, flung open the driver's door and hurled himself onto the asphalt instead. The result? A facial mosaic of road rash severe enough to star in his subsequent booking photo, though mercifully shy of full-body sequel. As the unattended vehicle careened onward with Heather and the children aboard, transforming the highway into an impromptu game of vehicular musical chairs. Circe's spouse demonstrated the kind of composure that turns potential catastrophe into mere anecdotes. Scaling the center console with the agility of a stunt double, she seized the wheel, averting what deputies described as a disaster in motion, and arriving officers, upon interviewing the shaken Heather, noted telltale signs of a scuffle. Her own facial injury suggesting the argument had escalated beyond mere words. She recounted pleading with Circe to pull over and let her and the children disembark, a request met with a steadfast refusal. The plot thickened when she alleged that upon discovering the daughter's emergency call, Circe had struck the child and confiscated the phone, ensuring their plea for help remained a solo act. Mercifully, emergency medical personnel on site gave all 5 family members a clean bill of health, clearing them to continue their journey, less the original pilot, Mr. Circe. Mr. Circe, meanwhile, faces charges that promise a long stay in the slow lane of justice, a stark reminder that sometimes the grass on the highway shoulder isn't greener. For those tracking the intersections of crime and chaos, this incident underscores a sobering truth. Family road trips may foster bonding, but they also test the limits of impulse control at 60 miles an hour. Well, we'll bring you the updates as they develop. Next on the docket, how about a story about marijuana-induced paranoia? Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, this is a real thing. We saw a ton of these cases during COVID. I had a case where a guy got so high, he got his stimulus check, bought more pot than he had ever had in his life. He and his buddies, get as much pot as they could possibly smoke, do it for like 2 weeks straight. Anyway, mom thinks he's a little not normal, wants to send him on heading home, winds up beating up people on the train at the airport. Turns out, only need a little time to get the little marijuana out of his system, and he was just fine. It is a thing, ladies and gentlemen. So if you reside in a state where you can do it legally, maybe for medicinal purposes, be smart, all right? Because too much of anything can be bad. So, a promising pharmacy student lost her life in a harrowing incident involving a firearm discharge during an evening marked by substance use and escalating fear, according to police. Ariel Spillner, age 26 and in her final year at the Concordia University of Wisconsin, succumbed to gunshot wounds sustained at a residence in Milwaukee on November 4th. Now, this little episode unfolded during a gathering to mark the birthday of Jamaica Mills, a acquaintance of Spillner. According to the affidavit, the 2 women had consumed marijuana, obviously a substance prohibited for recreational purposes under Wisconsin state law. That's why all the potheads came to Colorado, because it was legal here. Anyway, it led to a heightened state of anxiety and suspicion. Mills later recounted to police that she perceived an imminent threat from Spillner, who was handling scissors intended for grooming Miss Mills' dog. In a sequence of events detailed in the complaint, Mills retrieved a handgun from her bedroom upon succumbing to these apprehensions. Upon re-entering the room, she interpreted a gesture by Spillner as aggressive, prompting her to discharge the weapon at approximately 9:40 p.m. Mills further stated that in the ensuing disorientation, she inadvertently inflicted a wound upon herself in her stomach area as she moved towards the front door. Police officers arrived, discovered Mills conscious yet injured on the floor of the house, while Spillner was declared deceased at the location. A search of the premises yielded a Ruger .380 caliber pistol and 2 expended casings of matching caliber. Now, Miss Mills, transported to the hospital for treatment, initially resisted cooperating during preliminary questioning, claiming amnesia regarding the prelude to the emergency. Subsequent statements, however, align with the outline narrative of mutual paranoia precipitated by marijuana ingestion. An additional occupant of the residence faces allegations of providing false information to investigators concerning the circumstances, though no formal charges have been filed against that individual. Mills exhibited confrontational behavior during her transfer to the hospital per the police records. Needless to say, the family expressed profound bewilderment at the involvement of an apparent confidant in the fatal confrontation. They said that they cannot fathom any motive for harm against Ariel, and the notion that a friend could perpetrate this defies comprehension. The reality is disorienting and all-consuming, family members stated. Clarity eludes us entirely. Well, Mills, presently detained, confronts a felony count of first-degree reckless homicide. She's been given a bond in the amount of $150,000 and scheduled back in court on November 17th. Spillner's relatives have firmly opposed any negotiated resolutions in the proceedings, advocating accountability commensurate with the irreplaceable loss endured. Needless to say, kind of highlights the risks associated with impaired judgment under the influence of controlled substances. Obviously, once you think about a little prevention of maybe some mental health resources as well. Just say no, kids. Just say no. All right. Next, a Missouri woman charged with child abuse. Because what do we say? Don't live stream the crime scene. A 30-year-old mother in Jefferson City faces child abuse charges following allegations that she issued violent threats against her two young children during a live broadcast on the social media site TikTok. Elena Lujan, a resident of the city, is accused of directing profane and menacing language at her 3-year-old and 7-year-old child during an early morning hours on last Saturday. Records detail a series of disturbing statements captured on the stream, including warnings such as "go to sleep before I end your life," and expressions of frustration like "I'm exhausted with both of you." Oh my God. I'm sure no one out there has ever said anything about that to their children ever. Anyway, investigators report that Ms. Lujan escalated her remarks, allegedly stating that one child would bear responsibility for the other's harm, and that the only deterrent to further action was the threat of legal consequences. The incident prompted a welfare check after viewers alerted law enforcement about the content of the live stream. Officers from the Jefferson City Police Department arrived at her apartment about 2 a.m., where they encountered signs of some heavy alcohol consumption. What a shocker. Including an open bottle of tequila on the kitchen counter and shattered glass scattered on the floor. Lujan was found unconscious in the children's bedroom due to apparent intoxication requiring several minutes of effort to rouse her. Upon assessment, police located the 3-year-old resting on the living room couch and the 7-year-old sleeping in the primary bedroom. Lujan, described as highly impaired in the police reports, was detained and placed in a police car, and while in custody, she reportedly spat at an officer through an open window and declined to submit to a breathalyzer to measure her BAC level. She was then transported to a nearby station for processing. The probable cause affidavit highlights additional details from the video, including Lujan demanding compliance from one child amid audible distress, with the young one responding tearfully to her commands. Police emphasized that Lujan is the sole adult caregiver in the household, underscoring the children's vulnerability. Lujan has been formally charged with child abuse under Missouri state law and is currently detained in the Cole County Jail without bail. Her initial court appearance was set for today, and we'll keep you updated as that continues. But hey, think about the risk posed by an unmonitored online broadcast involving children, and often, the stresses the importance of immediate intervention in such scenarios, I guess. But it also goes back to the good old advice that we give to you for free. Don't live stream the crime scene, because let's face it, ladies and gentlemen, somebody's going to report you somewhere along the lines. Next, the lifelong question. The meaning of life. What came first, the chicken or the egg? One of those profound questions that we all want to know about. Well, guess what? A Florida man still does not know the answer. In an incident underscoring the perils of escalated verbal conflicts, a Florida resident, Peter Riera, allegedly discharged a firearm at 3 individuals outside a local bar following closing hours at the bar. You know what they say, we don't care where you go, but you can't stay here. Reports indicate that all parties involved had consumed alcohol, which may have contributed to the altercation that ensued as the evening concluded. Apparently, what took place was our hero decided to fire shots after the argument about the eggs. How many eggs can be produced from a chicken? Don't you want to shoot somebody over that, ladies and gentlemen? I mean, that guy almost made the dumb criminal of the day, but that's just stupid. Anyway, arrests have been made. Some quick headlines that didn't quite make our headlines. A man by the name of Eric Ennis in Long Beach, California, allegedly killed the mother of his children and then smuggled her body to Mexico, leading to his arrest by Mexican police after he confessed to his son that he had killed their mother and that he was going to take her body to Mexico. In Indiana, a man was charged with abusing children by making them stand up for up to 6 hours until their legs gave out, and he threatened them. 5 MS-13 members in Los Angeles were convicted of 6 brutal murders involving machetes, baseball bats, and dumping bodies off of cliffs. That's my familiarity with MS-13. They did a little disemboweling, the case that I'm familiar with. Next, in Las Vegas, Aaron Harris was sentenced to 32 years to life for murdering his wife Candace after years of denying that he was responsible. Well, he admitted because apparently there was a plea deal. And a Michigan woman, Michelle Matos Colon, called 911 to report that she had killed her husband after he allegedly assaulted her. Deputies arrived, found the guy dead inside. Matos Colon later told detectives that she had been the victim of domestic violence for several years. Documents also state that she had consumed 29 cans of beer and admitted that she was intoxicated during the shooting and reportedly saying that, well, I probably would not have shot him if I was sober. I guess we could change that. 99 bottles of beer on the wall, take one down, pass them around. 98 bottles of beer on the wall. How many beers does one have to consume before they shoot their spouse and, realize that maybe it contributed to their poor judgment? Unbelievable. Next, this day in legal history. On November 12th, 1948, former Japanese Premier Hideki Tojo and several other World War II Japanese leaders were sentenced to death for war crimes. On this date, November 12th, 1954, Ellis Island closed as the primary U.S. immigration station after processing over 12 million entrants, marking a shift in federal immigration policy toward visa systems and due process under the Fifth Amendment. On November 12th, 1997, Ramzi Youssef and 2 co-conspirators were convicted of plotting the 1993 bombing of the World Trade Center in New York. Youssef was later given a life sentence in prison without the possibility of parole. Of course, that was the precursor to the 9/11 incident where obviously the Twin Towers were brought down by terrorists. Our quote of the day, a little jab at attorneys. A lawyer will do anything to win a case. Sometimes he'll even tell the truth. That's attributable to Patrick Murray. Obviously, that little remark encapsulates the occasional tension between advocacy and veracity, offering a light-hearted yet incisive commentary on the profession. I get it, ladies and gentlemen. I get it. And finally, our dumb criminal of the day. What could only unfold in the sun-soaked highways of Florida? A 21-year-old resident's quest for a hot slice of pepperoni pizza propelled her into the annals of unintended comedy and the back of a patrol car. Police with the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office report that the evening's culinary caper turned custodial when deputies clocked the suspect's sedan blurring past the legal limit at a velocity more suited of a racetrack than a routine dinner run. The saga unfolded Thursday night along the northbound stretch of U.S. Highway 19 in Palm Harbor, where the posted speed was 55 miles per hour, and it serves as a gentle reminder that it's more than just a mere suggestion. Yet radar eyes caught Yasmin Erazo piloting her Kia at a blistering 107 miles per hour, transforming what might have been a mere traffic ticket into a full-fledged felony footnote. As officers executed a swift interception, Erazo offered a confession as candid as it was crave-driven. She was merely attempting to beat the clock at her local Little Caesars outpost before it closed for the night. In the grand theater of excuses, this one ranks high for its unvarnished honesty. After all, who among us hasn't eyed the final hour of a pizza joint with the urgency of a ticket? No injuries were reported in this high-speed hunger strike, though the incident serves as a little advisory. What it wants, the law prefers a more leisurely pace. Erazo now faces charges related to reckless driving. Also a gentle reminder that even the most innocent of appetites can accelerate into unforeseen detours. For those tempted to test the limits of both velocity and veracity, perhaps next time opt for delivery. In the meantime, deputies urge motorists to remember the road to indulgence is better traveled under the limit, lest your next hot meal comes with a side of stripes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. And remember, the Constitution matters.